Hey guys, Preston here. Sorry I'm getting this video to you guys later than usual. This is coming out on a Tuesday. But hey, this is a good game to talk about. Really fun matchup here. This Notre Dame beat Pitt today. Not today, Saturday. 45-3. Beautiful performance all around. There's some stuff I'm a nitpick like always because it's kind of, these videos are pointless if I'm not at least giving some critiques we can do to make the team even better. Rocking the book jersey again today. I only got the two. And Claypool don't play for us no more. He'd be great to have, man. Imagine this team with Chase Claypool. Well, I digress. Solid. That's that's the word they use. Excellent, maybe, is is even better. It's hard to find some bad things to say about this performance. Anytime your offense scores more than 40 points and your defense holds a team to only a field goal, it's hard to be mad at anything. I will say, no one expected this. A lot of people didn't. Notre Dame shut some people up Saturday. I love that. Shut me up too. I didn't get a chance. I didn't make a post game for Louisville. I think I was more calm than some other people were, surprisingly, which is it's usually not what I do. But I said, we'll be okay. We'll be all right. We'll bounce back. And we did. We did bounce back. We bounced back big, and hopefully we carried this momentum. We play Georgia Tech next week for our final tune-up game. We got to get even more kinks out and get them going before we have to play Clemson, which is obviously our biggest game of the year. Might be the college football game of the year. And I just want to look at least good that game. Come on, Notre Dame. Please don't embarrass us again. I hate this. Just getting blown out by teams is awful. But we're not there yet. We're not at the Clemson preview. We're at the Notre Dame Pitt post-game. I will say, though, if I did a preview, I would not have predicted this score. Obviously, Pitt did not have their starting quarterback, but the reality is they also didn't have him against Miami, and Miami only won by 14. We obviously won by 42. So, 42-14, we did better than the other teams that have played their backup. This Pitt defense, the quarterback doesn't affect this Pitt defense, and this Pitt defense is it's been one of the better ones in the country. Let me find that for you real quick. All right, so Pitt looks like they were ranked like 16th in total defense. If we can find it again, guys. Obviously, there's factors here because other teams have only played a game, like one game, so that factors into it. But Pitt's done very well, 16th in total defense. And obviously, this was before. It was even better before Notre Dame came in and scored 45 and put up close 100-something rushing and 300-something passing. So obviously that factors into it. But like I said, solid Pitt defense, a really good Pitt defense. They're known for defense with Pat Narduzzi as their coach. They have a very good defensive line with multiple NFL caliber guys rushing the passer. So I will say Book got sacked twice. The O-line was suspect sometimes, unfortunately. Makes me a little nervous coming into like a Clemson game. But like I said, the Pitt pass rushers are legit. It's just we can probably do a little bit better. I believe other post-game stuff I watched, someone said Robert Hainsey was a little suspect, which is unfortunate. That's a right tackle. So let's work on that. This is a good offensive line. I still have faith in them. They'll get. Obviously, like I said, I'm nitpicking. You won 45-3, so you have to nitpick. There's no broad issues. The run game was an issue this game. We did nothing on the run, but to be fair, the pass game was working so well. But like I said, the pass game was working so well, we didn't really have to run that much. So, no, we did run. We tried to run a lot. There's a lot of attempts here. 8 from Armstrong, 1 from Clark. The Clark one doesn't count. That was just probably was that a sack? I don't know what that was, but it counted as a rush. 8 from Armstrong, 3 from Tyree, 17 from Kyron, 8 from Book, and 13 from Sebo. Sebo was our best running back today, it's cool to see. Good for Sebo. Averaged 3.7 yards a carry, had 48 yards on 13 attempts and a touchdown. Williams had a touchdown, but that Pitt defensive front was no joke. Like I said, got 2 sacks. Sorry. On Book and held Williams to 2.2 yards per carry. Still got a touchdown, but yeah, that's not. Williams is a beast, and seeing Pitt shut down this run game has me worried. We need to do better. We have to. We got to let's get this running game going again, because against Clemson, we're going to have to be able to run the ball. And if Pitt can do this to us, I'm a little worried about what Clemson might be able to do. Nitpicks. We won 45-3, so calm down. I'm trying. I have to be constructive here. We have to look ahead because we know this. Notre Dame fans, we all know this. Pitt is a team we're supposed to beat. Maybe not 45-3. That's nice. That's impressive. I love it. But every game up until the big games are just tune-ups, and we're at the point now we have to focus. I think the fans should be allowed to and are expected to at this point to focus on these big games we have each season, and every other game is just a lead up. It's a build up, and if we lose, it's horrifying. It's awful. But if we win, we have to look at them in the lens of, well, what's this translate to our big game coming up? Like if we had a Wisconsin game still, or USC, but this year it's only Clemson. Clemson's our game this year. Don't get me wrong, there's some tougher games. North Carolina will still be ranked relatively high probably when we play them. That'll be a tough matchup. But outside of that, there's no one really super tough left. And so obviously I need to look at every game we play. I have to look at if we play like this against Clemson, how would it go? And if we ran like this against Clemson, it would not go well. So that's just something to keep an eye on. We'll see if we can get the run game going again against this Georgia Tech defense, which is, for being honest here, definitely not as good as Pitt's. So we'll see. Hopefully we can tune some stuff up and get ready for that Clemson game. There. Receiving, better. Good. We finally had a good receiving game. And the Pitt secondary isn't great, but it's not horrible either. They have good safeties. And I believe it's Paris 4. So yeah, the run game should be able to get going again. Hopefully we can work out the kinks against Clemson. Now, where I was on the passing game. Obviously this passing game has been rough all year. It's been something I've talked about every game. And here we go. Now, it's our best passing game of the year by far. We did pretty good against Florida State passing too. But Book today had 300 yards passing, I think, for the first time all season. 3 touchdowns, no picks. The only little concern is the fact that he also put up his worst completion percentage of the year at 53.3. That's got to improve. You can't, 60% is like the expectation. He hit over 60% the first 3 games of the year, dipped under slightly for Louisville, and then was well under 53.3 for the Pitt game. But obviously this was his best statistical passing game next to the Florida State one where he had 201 yards and 2 touchdowns. Sacked twice, though. Not great. Better than the Louisville game. The Louisville game was unexcusable. I think most of the sacks were because Book had to hold on forever because these wide receivers weren't doing crap. So at least the wide receivers did more today. They did more. A little more. There's still times where it seemed like Book was just having to try to make things happen. That's why he ran 8 times for 40 yards. That's something we need to keep seeing from him. I'm glad he did it. It was nice to see. We're putting that where people have to worry about Book running. Because the reality is these wide receivers are still not great, and they got worse. We took some blows today. We're going to get to that, unfortunately. Injuries suck. They really do. But this run game is going to be important. That's a huge factor. He was our best runner by far, 8 attempts for 40 yards. But, yeah, we need more of that because our wide receivers are still a little rough. But today, not bad. 2 of them, good. Actually, let's be honest. There was 3. Our 3 guys who will be our guys, it looks like they'll be our guys for the rest of the year, did good today, and we need them to build off that. Ben Skoranek, the Northwestern transfer who's missed a lot of time this year, kind of on and off with that hamstring issue, was finally a full go today, and he showed up. Only targeted 3 times, but he caught 2 of them for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. The man averaged 53 yards a catch. He caught 2 deep balls, contested catches, got touchdowns. A little Chase Claypool-esque. Obviously, I'm not saying he's nowhere near the talent of Chase Claypool. He probably won't be a second-round draft pick and balling in the NFL. But good job. 6'3", I believe, and he's doing the role well. Excellent game by him, 107 yards, and caught pretty much all the balls that went his way, except the one. I can't remember what happened there, if it was in his hands, if it was overthrown, etc. Book did have overthrows today, like always. Like I said, a 53% completion percentage isn't great, so that's still on Book. He's still missing plays. I swear this dude has no sense of touch, and it drives me crazy. I don't hate Book. I don't want to be one of the Book haters who be like, start Brendan Clark, because Clark didn't do much today either. He played for a little bit. Didn't look necessarily impressive. Granted, he played with backups too, to be fair, but you know what I mean. Book still seems like the best option that we have. And he's just got to get a sense. He's got to get some touch passes in here because he's still, like, chucking the ball. I swear it's it's as hard as he can, like, throwing fastballs on every play. It'll be a screen, fastball. You know, he's like, dude, it's a screen. Let him catch the ball. Don't throw it 90 miles an hour at his head on a screen pass. Anytime you have a quarterback who's overthrowing screens, you know it's just an issue, and it sucks to see it. It's got to be worked out. It's just... Book's been in our system too long, have not developed properly. I don't know what's going on. There's always been a thing under Brian Kelly where these quarterbacks aren't developing good enough. I think the last Notre Dame quarterback that really flashed for me was Deshaun Kaiser. And it was just unfortunate he had to play with a horrible defense. That year we went 4-8. That could have been, if Kaiser would have stayed another year, which he should have, we could have been really good that next year. But we need another Kaiser. If we had a Kaiser now, I think this team would be even better. I don't hate Book, though. And like I said, the receivers haven't been given him much. Today they did a little better. Michael Mayer, who some people call Baby Gronk, don't do it anymore. On Instagram, he said, just call me Michael, too. I don't think he likes the Baby Gronk nickname. It's given out a lot. If you're like a really good white tight end, your name's Baby Gronk now. I think the Penn State kid already has it, so it's come up with a new nickname for him. I don't know what it'd be, the Mayor, Mighty Mike. I've seen different ones on Twitter. I guess you guys get to decide, but for now, we'll just call him Meyer. Michael Meyer had 5 catches on 8 targets for 73 yards and a touchdown, his best game of the year. He's been solid all year, but he finally started getting more of that production. Looks like Tremble took a back seat. I don't know if that's going to be the case for the rest of these games, and Meyer is finally... has already firmly solidifies himself as the number 1 kid we have. 5-star tight end, I think, is ranked the number 2 tight end in the country coming in this recruiting class. Kid's a beast. It's just a fact. He will be a kid who probably leaves as a junior or gets drafted pretty high. He'll probably end up better than Cole Kmet. That's forecasting a lot, obviously, but I think he has the ability to end up better than Cole Kmet. Javon McKinley, who's our number 2 guy now, him and Skowronek are the outside guys, pretty much confirmed, especially with let's mention this now. Kevin Austin is unfortunately done before his season even really got to begin. He is out for the year. He re-aggravated his foot injury, which is super unfortunate. Let's just get him healthy, and hopefully he can be ready for next year, where some of our freshmen, we brought in a stud 5-star freshman this recruiting class who hasn't even, high 4 was a 5 for a long time, but they downgraded him, of course. I don't know what is going on with him. Kelly has some sort of vendetta against him and will not play the freaking kid. Hopefully now with Austin and unfortunately Brendan Lindsay also re-aggravated his hamstring. We don't know how serious that is yet. Probably out for at least next week. Maybe we'll finally get to see some of our freshman wide receivers. We have 3 of them. The high 4-star. We also have Xavier Watts from Nebraska, who was rated a 4-star by 247, who has a lot of talent, and a 3-star kind of slot kid, I believe. And dang, guys, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. Jay Brunel. There it is. So let's see if we can get, Jordan Johnson kind of more involved. Lawrence Keys has been kind of quiet. He's the backup right now. It's going to be interesting to see kind of what they do with these wide receivers. If they get more of a rotation going, if they stick with who they had this game, and Skowronek, McKinley on the outside, Davis in the middle. McKinley not bad. 2 catches on the 4 targets, like I said. I think some of those balls were just off from Book. Not much McKinley could do. He has had drop issues this year, but I don't think he did too bad. I don't remember any notable drops from him, at least this game. 50 yards on the 2 catches, 25 yards a catch. So we're getting these deep balls out now. So these wide receivers aren't having a lot of production, but they're getting a couple catches in the deep ones. So the deep passing game, finally getting the vertical passing game going, will be very important for this team. It appears to be a key recipe for success for most of these teams. If you look at the rest of the top 4 playoff teams, their passing yards per game were way higher, and they have these weapons on the outside, and they can burn people deep. So it's nice to see us getting some of that going. Avery Davis, our slot kid, he's also later in his career. He's played everywhere, quarterback, running back, corner, and has finally found his role as a slot receiver. Had 3 catches for 44 yards. Very good day from Avery Davis. Like what he's doing. Looked like he's progressing. Like I said, he's been moved all over the place. He hasn't really gotten fully settled into a role yet, and it looks like he's finally starting to get fully settled into this slot wide receiver role, and you love to see it. Williams, the running back, is obviously still a pretty good pass threat right there. 3 catches for 37 yards. Not bad at all. Other guys were just unnoticeable. Unfortunately, Brendan Lindsay, we had him out on the field in the 4th quarter for no good reason. That's something that hindsight's always 2020, but it's like we're up 45-3. We're playing backup quarterbacks. Why do we have Lindsey out there running a streak, trying to burn them again? All it did was lead to an incomplete pass and Lindsey re-aggravating his hamstring injury, which is the last thing you want to see. I will say I was rather surprised to find out he had no production this game at all. 4 targets, 0 catches, 0 yards, obviously. Little concerning there. We'll see what happens. He hasn't really had a chance to be fully healthy yet this year, which is rather unfortunate. It's a bad year for a wide receiver room to take a lot of injuries when we're already need guys to develop as it is. This is an unproven wide receiver room, and they got to get it going. Like I will say that McKinley, Skoranek, and Davis look pretty good, so hopefully they build off that. That's all you can say. Keep him healthy, keep Skoranek's hamstring going stronger, helps him get his movement back a little better. That should help a lot. McKinley's just still got to grow. Like I said, he's a fifth-year senior, but he hasn't had a lot of playing time. And obviously Davis, first year, is a true slot kid, so they all have a lot of growing to do. And let's hope they can get it quick in time for this Clemson game. And hopefully Lindsey can be back too, because he's a nice speed threat if we can use him properly and Book can start connecting with him. Kicker Dorr did his job, hit his field goal, and hit all 6 extra points. Great job from Dorr. Fun thing, I don't know if you knew this yet, Jonathan Dorr's going to get this comeback for another year due to the college football eligibility rule that they just had, saying no one loses a year of eligibility this year. It's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. Because if they don't change the scholarship limit, teams might not accept. They might have to kick some of these seniors out still. So we'll see what happens. That's for a later time when we do our position previews and stuff for next season. It'll be interesting to see. Punt return-wise, not much happened there. Solano pretty much fair caught everything, which is, it's fine. The Pitt's punt coverage team was always right in his face, so not much he could do there. Tyree had 1 good kick return for 17 yards. Obviously, he only got to do 1 kick return because we held Pitt to only 1 scoring drive. Beautiful to see. Defense. Let's talk about this defense. Defense did a very good job. Again, we finally got turnovers. We were not getting turnovers at all these last couple of games, which is rather unfortunate. We were known for punching the ball out. A lot of forced fumbles last season. That's still down a bit. We did get 1. Shout out to Isaiah Pryor, who's came in as a transfer safety from Ohio State, is now playing backup rover for the beast Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and was able to force a fumble this game. I think Pitt did recover, but nice to see him he's getting some meaningful reps in this blowout game. 2 tackles, a tackle for a loss, a sack, and a forced fumble. Great game by Pryor. Nice to see, because he has 2 years of eligibility, so he'll probably end up, if we keep him at rover, he'll probably end up a starter at that position after Owusu obviously leaves for the NFL, either this season or next season. Kid's just too talented to not be in the pros. First or second round pick, if you ask me, probably third at worst. Sack-wise, we had 3 if you count the half sack. So a sack from Myron Tagovailoa-Amosa, sorry. I think this was his first game back. He was dealing with COVID and some other stuff had to be worked back into the system. Pretty good showing his first game back. I think him being in the interior of the defense really helped us out. I think we weren't doing as well with some of these younger guys trying to fill in for him. So he came back in strong, had 3 tackles, including a TFL and a sack, which is what you would love to see. Ovi Ogofufu, I probably said the name wrong still. D lineman who got reps, I think probably due to the blowout stuff, had 3 tackles, including a half a sack. Pryor obviously had the sack, like I said. And Foskey, another solid game from the young kid, redshirt. I think he's technically a redshirt freshman. 2 tackles and a half a sack, along with the blocked punt he had, which was a beautiful thing to see before halftime. It's really just showed how bad this game was going for Pitt. Leading tackler was Sean Crawford at safety. Pretty good job from him today. Had 5 tackles, including a TFL. Nick McLeod actually was on, I just saw today, he was put on Pro Football Focus's college secondary of the week. So huge shout out to Nick McLeod, the transfer. We really needed that experience in that cornerback room. He's a great kid to have for this season. Depending on the eligibility rule stuff, he might even be back next season. So good job by him. Had a pick today. 4 tackles and a pick. Nice job. That was a beautiful pick, too. I don't know if you've seen it. You should look it up. Jason Adamaloya. I can't say his name. I'm sorry, guys. There's a lot of fun names on this defense. I get some of them. I got Owusu down, and but hey, good job from him. 4 tackles, a TFL. Not bad. You'll notice the starters' defensive stats weren't spectacular. No one really shined on paper, but you know the defense as a whole did excellent when you hold a team to 3 yards. And like I said, we played some of the younger guys got more chances to play today. Tariq Bracy missed again. I think they said it was an illness, but not related to COVID, so that's good to hear. He should be back for next game. That being said, true freshman. I don't think he registered a stat, interestingly. Clarence Lewis did his job, though. He didn't get really burned or anything that bad. Let's see, pick-wise, who else got picks? Oh, yeah, our linebackers got most of the picks. Only DB with the pick was McLeod. But shout out to Owusu. Like I said, quiet day from him. Tackles-wise, no, only one tackle all game. No TFLs, no sacks. Probably didn't play much. Just like I said, it kind of got out of hand early, so he didn't really play much. But he did get a pick. So, like I said, he's a guy you can't really keep off the stat sheet. No sacks today, no TFLs or fumbles, but he still found a way to get on that board with an interception. Wish it was a nice one, too, I'll say that. Drew White, relatively pedestrian. 1 tackle in the TFL. A lot of just 1 tackle guys. Some of these kids who played more towards the end, like DV's Cam Hart and is it Derek Brown? Dustin Brown, I think. The safety. I think, was it Brown? Brown could have had like 1 or 2 picks if he just turned his head. Some situational awareness stuff these young kids still have to work on. We could have had even more turnovers. But like I said, nitpicking, obviously. We had 3 picks, including Bo Bauer, who registered no stats except the pick, so that's fun. This dropped into coverage. Their backup quarterback really wasn't paying much attention, and he made a nice play, got the pick. So, players of the game. This is a tougher one, guys. Book did good, like I said, but the 53% completion percentage we need to work on. No picks, though. I think just because I'm so happy to see the wide receivers actually doing something, I'm going to give this to Skoranek. Let's hope he can build off this performance. Only 2 catches, so let's get more of those. But having 107 yards and 2 touchdowns is way more production than any other receivers had this year, and it's a beautiful sight to see. Let's hope they can grow on that. So shout out Ben Skoranek. The Fort Wayne kid who went to Northwestern and transferred here is our offensive player of the game. Defensively, that's tough. That one's just tough. I mean, like I said, no one really stood out. They all did their jobs, but I think Pryor seems like a good one. Had a sack and a forced fumble and a TFL, 2 tackles. I'm gonna go with McLeod though. I mean, 4 tackles, second in the team on tackles, and a pick. This is nice to see. Shout out to the grad transfer. So actually, both my players at the games were actually grad transfers this year. So it's nice to see our grad transfers are getting results. And Pryor, who I considered, was also a grad transfer. So nice to see some of these kids coming in, like I said, producing for our team. I think the transfer market is something that's growing ever more into this college football game, especially with the NCAA reviewing a new rule where everyone gets a one-time transfer without having to sit out at all. So look for the transfer game to keep growing in college football. Love it or not, if I like it or not, it's just here now. And it's a good thing. I think it's nice to see Notre Dame finally utilizing it. I think all successful teams do. It's an important part of the game now. Like Ohio State had a transfer running back. I mean, heck, Justin Fields is a transfer quarterback. Half these teams winning natties are getting transfer quarterbacks. So I think it's something to focus on. The transfer game is something Notre Dame needs to continue to try get into. It's always good to fill in roles. Like you say, receiver. Imagine like next year we find some awesome transfer receiver. Stuff like that. That's something to look at. Like Skoranek was a transfer receiver, and he was our best receiver last game. But I digress from the random rant about transfers. Overall, excellent game. Like I said, nitpicks were just, Book's completion percentage. He still needs to make some more of these passes, get a better sense of touch. There are not a lot of touch passes, not a lot of finesse to his passing game. It's a lot of just tough, straight, hard spirals. Not bad. I mean, that's a good thing to have. You want a guy who can throw the ball relatively hard. The deep ball was there today, so he looked a little better with his deep ball. That's always been something we've kind of wondered about with Book. But like I said, hard to complain when you get 3 tackles. Offensive line, step it up. Needs to step it up. I mean, this Pitt defense is good, but we're supposed to have one of the best defensive lines in the nation, and so to have none of your running backs hit 50 yards individually and give up 2 sacks just isn't good enough. That's the only thing. That's my nitpick for the day is get the run game going and offensive line. Come on, let's stop with these sacks. Let's slow these sacks down. Four of them last game, 2 this game. But like I said, I have faith they can get it together, and I'm sure Brian Kelly better have him coming motivated for Clemson. I don't want a Michigan or Miami 2.0. We know that pain. Let's not experience it again. Next week, we are at Georgia Tech in a game we should win. I'll do the preview for that coming up in a couple days or so. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your players of the game. If you disagree with me at all, anything you want to talk about Notre Dame related, feel free to comment below. I'll gladly respond. I love talking Notre Dame football with people. Don't get to do it too often. I'm the only big sports guy in my house, really. Either way, click over here for the playlist on all my Notre Dame post-game reactions so far this season. Right here is where you can subscribe to my channel. I'm currently at 131 subscribers, as I'd love to be able to hit 140 by the end of the year. So please subscribe. Tell your friends who are Notre Dame fans or sports fans in general. Steelers fans too. I do Steelers videos that subscribe and mean a lot. Trying to grow this channel as much as possible. And over here is just a random video of mine that YouTube has decided to recommend for you. So make sure you check that out. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This is KMA Preston signing out. See you later this week. Go Irish.